Hello YouTube, how you guys doing today? Today we are getting into the book Happier by Tal Ben Shahar, PhD. He was a teacher at Harvard, so this is a great book. We're gonna dive in and figure it all out. Okay, so if you haven't seen my videos before, I go through three basic layers of every book. Right, first we go into the core concept. Then we go into the theory. The core concept is basically the big idea that I want you guys to focus on. Then we go into the theory that supports the core concept. And finally, we go into action steps that you can take to apply that core concept into your life. All right, let's get started. So, Happier by Tal Ben Shahar. So basically what he says is that the core concept I want you to focus on is that happiness is the ultimate currency of life. Not gold, not prestige, not money, not looking good. Happiness. That is the ultimate currency of life. So think about it like, Super Mario, right? When you're getting those gold coins, right, and the number is going up, that's like your happiness meter, right? The more gold coins, the happier you are. The less gold coins, the less happy you are. And we'll get into ways that we can gather more gold coins in Super Mario. I guess that's just the example I came up with. I don't know. Anyway, so let's get into the theory. That's the core concept. Happiness equals ultimate currency. Let's get into the theory though now. So, what is the happiness equation, right? Basically, it's present pleasure plus future meaning. In the book, Tal Ben Shahar goes into four thought patterns or archetypes. And he says the first archetype is the rat racer who sacrifices present pleasure for future gains, right? Someone who's really devoted to their studies. They study all day, but they don't enjoy their lives. But they're hoping that they get happy one day in the future when they achieve whatever success they want, right? So that's the rat racer. The second is the hedonist, who doesn't think about the future, who's just focused on present pleasure, right? Like a drug addict, right? Which is what I was. I definitely understand the hedonic archetype. Next is the nihilist, right? Who isn't happy now and doesn't expect to be happy in the future, right? So that's just someone who just doesn't see any meaning in life. And then there is the happy archetype, right? Who has pleasure right now and meaning for the future, and that's what happiness equals. So what they have found, another idea that I want to go into is that wealth does not, that's a not, equal happiness. Wealth does not equal happiness. What they have found through extensive research is that, except in cases of extreme poverty where you don't have anything to eat and you don't have a place to stay, besides that, right, any additional increases in wealth over the baseline necessities, you're not going to get any happier. In fact, the richer some countries become, the greater the rates of depression, right? Compared to, look at America, right? We have, since the 1960s, our GDP has gone up exponentially. And while at the same time, our rates of depression have also gone up. So that's another point to the theory, right? And the next point of the theory is goals. Now, Shahar says there's a specific way that you need to create goals. It's not so much about achieving your great goals for money and success. It's more about striving after your higher self-concordant goals, is what he calls it. And these are goals that spring from the most passionate values that you hold, right? Something that you find intrinsically meaningful and pleasurable, right? So for me, one of my goals is to write, well, I've already written multiple books, but to write more books, right? Because I love writing, I enjoy it, and I know it gives meaning to my life, right? So goals, that's really big. Self-concordant goals are really big. They've done a ton of research on people who have goals for financial goals, for example, and they find that people who focus solely on their finances tend to be less happier. There are negative consequences to focusing on materialistic goals instead of goals like, yo, I want to be happier. That's a great goal, right? I want to enjoy my life. Instead of, oh, I want to be richer, right? Because those goals place stress on you, whereas uh, goals such as I want to be happier, I want to give to others, I want to bring meaning to my life, those are immaterial goals, and those tend to last longer. So there's that. So now we're getting to the action phase, right? So we did the core concept. Happiness is the ultimate currency, not money, not prestige, not hot girl, even though that would be nice. Um, Theory. So the theory is happiness equals pleasure plus meaning. Wealth doesn't equal happiness, and goals. Goals liberate us in the here and now. They actually contribute to present pleasure because they fulfill the happiness archetype, that desire to unify both pleasure and meaning. So now let's get into some action steps. The first action step that I want to get into is finding your calling. Find calling. Find your calling. That's a G. That was a terrible G. So how do you find your calling? So first you need to ask yourself, what do I enjoy doing, right? What do I love to do? Then you need to ask yourself, what gives me meaning? What can, I personally, like I've been addicted to drugs for years, and I have, I've quit it pretty recently, but I have been like, yo, I love drugs, right? But that doesn't give me any meaning. So ask yourself what you enjoy, and then ask yourself what gives you meaning, what gives you future benefit, what helps you look towards the future and strive towards a meaningful goal. And then the third element is, what am I good at, right? What does the world need, and what am I good at? So what I enjoy, what's meaningful, what am I good at, and what does the world need? And that will help you discover your calling. So ask yourself those questions. Perhaps journal about it if you haven't found your calling yet. It's a great practice. So that's one action step you can take. The second action step is cultivate friendship. So they did a lot of studies on happiness, right? And one Harvard study that was done on happiness followed these individuals who graduated from Harvard for 70 years, right? And what they found is what separated the not really happy people from the super happy people was their social connections, was their meaningful, deep, rich social relationships that they cultivated. So that's number two. Cultivate friendships, cultivate social relationships, invest. And how can you do that? Write an appreciation letter to your coworker, or write a gratitude letter to your mother. Those are practical steps that you can take to cultivate your friendships, right? Get out there, right? Join some, if you're into writing, join some writing groups. If you're into something else, join something else, right? Cultivate deep, rich friendships. It's better to have a few strong relationships than many shallow ones. All right, number three. This is a big one. Meditation. So this is a specific action step that you can take. So what does meditation do, right? Meditation helps you enjoy the present while giving you control over the meaning of your life, right? How does it do that? First, it puts space between you and your thoughts, right? You become the master of your mind over time. It doesn't initially happen, but give it enough time, you will be able to master your emotional state. if you're feeling some type of way, feeling bad, you can just, pop out a mini meditation and you'll feel better if you put practice into it. They've done research. Meditation lights up the left hemisphere of your brain, which is associated with feelings of happiness, and it reduces gray matter in your amygdala, which is tied to your fight and flight response, and all kinds of negative emotions like fear. So yeah, that's my little spiel. That is Happier by Tal Ben Shahar. The core concept: happiness, ultimate currency. That's what you need to strive for. The theory: happiness is pleasure plus meaning, plus goals will give you that pleasure plus meaning, and wealth isn't the answer. And action steps: find your calling, cultivate friendships, and get into meditation. So that's my little spiel for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a good one.